Okay, so let's sit comfortably or uncomfortably, if you prefer. A lot of people sit uncomfortably to meditate. Why? I don't know. Makes them feel like they're doing something. And of course, that's the problem. The whole orientation is doing something. We're going to accomplish something. We're going to rev up our procedures. So let's not rev up anything. Let's unrev. Unrev. I'm going to teach you the super secret meditation launch method that I learned from a Buddhist Lama. Um, hang on a sec. I got more people to mute. Okay. So this is for real. I'm not making this up. Um, this super secret method I learned from a Buddhist Lama for unrevving. Instead of revving up meditation, we're going to unrev. If you're wearing glasses, you might want to take them off for this one, because what we're going to do is kind of put our heads down and go. Okay, so ready and go. Wait, I'm going to unmute you for that one. I want to hear this. Okay, ready? Here we go. And I'm putting you on Hollywood Squares setting here so I can see all the fun. Okay, ready? Go. You get extra points if you can get your face to shake. Okay, one more time and good, good, good. If it makes you laugh, that's good. If it makes you feel stupid, that's extra good. Because if you're stupid, see, that's the one advantage that we men have in meditation, since we're not very smart, is that when you feel stupid, then you might give up on trying to figure things out. Give up on trying to strategize. Just give up. Just whatever it is. Screw it. I don't know. Duh. I don't know. Okay. So let's close our eyes. Don't do anything else. Just close your eyes. Stay stupid. Just remain stupid. It's easy. Believe me. What am I supposed to do now? I don't know. What's supposed to happen now? I don't know. What date is it? What's the meaning of life? What's my name? Once, years ago, I had hepatitis. Um, Very serious case. I probably was close to dying from it. And the one cool thing about it was that for a while I was so depleted of energy that I would sit there and my mind would start to form a thought, and it would get the thought half formed and then just give up. Just back off of that half-formed thought. So when you start forming some intention, some attitude, some thought that you're engaged with, just give up on it. Yeah, but what about, nah. Oh, how about, nah, too much work. Aren't we supposed to be, uh, too much work? Can't even figure it out. Just remaining right here, where we already are, in this place before we've made our first effort, before we've formed our first intention about meditation or anything else. Before we've constructed our first concept. Here in this Garden of Eden, before we start putting names on things, putting fig leaves on things. Just here. The here that's here without any help from us. Because we're helpless. At any point, if you feel caught up in something, some story you're embroiled in, just and sit back in this, in here. This awareness, this simple being that's here before the first story. This simple being is also there after every story and during every story, but we can get distracted by the stories and not notice it. But it's always here. Just waiting for us to be dumb and simple enough to settle back into it again. And as always, take a few minutes before slowly opening the eyes. Okay, how's everybody doing? Everybody good? Good, 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 good. Any questions? Didn't see that coming, did you? Any questions or comments? Observations? Requests for refunds? You know, once I was on this long meditation retreat somewhere in Europe. This was like a 6-month retreat or something. And some point, 4 or 5 months in, when it seemed like it was going to be never ending, our unofficial motto became no refunds. I'm very interested in hearing from you. Okay, so good. You guys are all on the beam with the simplicity of meditation, right? It's stupid simple, right? Today we're emphasizing the literalness of that. Stupid simple. When you're not sure what to do, just be stupid. You're all set. Just whenever you start trying to figure something out, we're gonna this strategy will this no duh. Okay. But I'm very interested to hear from people about, especially in this very interesting time that we're in now, in month whatever this is, 4 or 6 or a million or something of this quarantine, or whatever else you're dealing with in your lives. How are you doing? What is your experience with bringing? It's one thing to we melt into the simplicity of just pure being, into this Garden of Eden within. But then when we come out, and that same nervous system that's been marinating in here, now we bring that same nervous system out here to interact with all the people and the events and the situations, the input, the news. What is your experience of that here in whatever this is, July of 2020?
Okay,
Yes,
hi.
yes,
Hi.
Yehudit. Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling actually all the time to talk or not to talk because I'm afraid that I will get in trouble. But first I want to say that um, you helped me right now because you said it's stupid simple, and
Yes.
I'm feeling very stupid since yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, I'm trying to practice the letting go of the grip. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I know. I mean, mentally, I know
Mm-hmm.
that it's all about my reaction, my response, how I
Mm-hmm.
deal with the situation. Like
Mm-hmm.
you give the simple example of being in the red light. What can I
Mm-hmm.
do? Shall I be
Right.
angry? No,
Right.
it's a red light for a minute or two, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my choice to sit in the car in the traffic at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sometimes there's no choice, but most of
Mm-hmm.
the time it's really a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know from practicing yoga and everything that a lot in life is our choice. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic is not our choice, it's upon us. But
Mm-hmm.
still, we are making our way, deciding this or deciding that. Okay, it's starting really to get to me the
Mm-hmm.
behavior of the people on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially that now we are seeing how things are becoming very bad again, and how on the news I probably should not listen to so much news. It's so upsetting me. The behavior on people that they cannot put, sorry, the damn mask on the face.
It's not the damn mask. It's the fucking mask.
The what?
The fucking mask.
Thank you, because
Yes.
this.
Yes.
So this got me in trouble yesterday. So I was away from Santa Monica in another place where I live as well in Upland. And there's a book, and I'm really tired to walking on asphalt on the streets. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a hiker, so I like to go on soil. And there's this beautiful boulevard in Upland. It's called Euclid. It's 3 miles long. And in the middle, there's this divider that it's all dirt and beautiful trees in both sides that gives you shade when you walk and exercise or you run. And
Mm-hmm.
I've done it for years, or a lot. I've been there a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, it's everybody's right to come out and exercise, run and do and talk to people or family. But why don't you wear the fucking mask? So I understand. I myself take it down when nobody's around me because sometimes it's okay, a little bit hot and
Yeah.
etc. etc. And I yesterday I 95% of the people I would say, and there were many yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, passing me, nearby me, not moving away from me. And I usually jump away, and I'm so tired to jump away. And
Mm-hmm.
especially when there are lots of young people, it's what
Mm-hmm.
really got to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I saw a couple that did have the mask, and I turned around to them and I said, thank you for wearing the mask. I don't understand those people. They don't wear the fucking mask. And
Mm-hmm.
a young woman was next to me. She looks at me. I said, yes, why aren't you wearing that? And she's near me. She's going fast. Why
Mm-hmm.
are you wearing the fucking mask? Are you right? And I said something probably inappropriately. Are
Mm-hmm.
we, shall we all carry guns instead wearing a mask?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, they got me in trouble because I continued to walk. And then there was a whole group of mothers with strollers, and they're not one family. You understand I do understand when family goes together, they quarantine together, they were together. But those were 4 different mothers with strollers. So they're friends, no distance. And there's a sign every so often on this long trail, wear the mask. It's especially, okay, it's not the law, but they say it's mandatory to how does it say? Mandatory to a distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And recommended to wear the mask. But
Mm-hmm.
this week, California came mandatory wear the mask when you're in public.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we are not sitting in a cafe, even not outdoors or out. We are walking,
Mm-hmm.
but there's so much togetherness there.
Mm-hmm.
And we know already from science. So it's like, do you believe in science or you were a churchgoer? Anyway, it got to me and I got in trouble, and this woman called the police, and I feel he harassed me because I said, I did not say I'm going home to bring a machine gun. I just said something about guns, that people wear guns here, right? Instead masks. She turned it around and they detained me. He said, I'm going to detain you, don't move. Give me your driver license. And thank you. I'm sorry, but I feel safe to share this here with you because I'm not going to share with other people because as I said, I felt so stupid yesterday that I allowed this young policeman who did not care about talking to the people about wearing a mask. That was not his issue because she twisted the words and she said to him that I said I'm going home to bring a machine gun. And that's against the law. So then I feel like I'm getting crazy, just getting out of, and I couldn't let go of the grip. So I'm feeling so stupid since yesterday. And thank you for saying now that we are doing something stupid. No, it's actually a lovely thing to do. And you're allowing me to vent. I hope it's okay with you guys. I'm sure you all have your feelings and pain, and I'm dealing with this freedom in America. In America, I'll do whatever I want because it's a free country. And look where we are compared to all the other countries in the world. We have anyway.
We have freedom. Freedom. Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you got a chance to vent this. We're all family. Yeah. No, but we're all family here. And this is what's called Sangha. Sangha is the spiritual family, the awakening family, and this is part of it. And it's at times like this, when the going gets tough, that it's especially important to have Sangha, to have your practice, and to have the teachings, right? And to go back, when things get weird, when the shit hits the fan, this is our meditative practice, spiritual practice that we've been doing. This is what we've been practicing for times like these. And things may get much crazier. Things will get much crazier, maybe or maybe not within our lifetimes, but things will get crazier. Look at history. Couple of things. One thing is about so those three things, the teaching, the Sangha, the practice. A phrase you used a couple of times, like quoting me, right? Let go of the grip. Okay? I just want to tweak that and remind you of because a lot of stuff I say over and over in exactly the same way, hoping that people will remember it. Okay? And I don't say let go of the grip, because that may or may not be something that you can do. What I say is relax your grip. Relax your grip. Okay? You see the difference, right? I can see from your smile that you understand the difference. When we say let go, the implication, we hear that word go and we think, oh, it's supposed to go away. The situation is supposed to go away, or our anger or our fear is supposed to go away. We have no control over that. And when we set up a situation, an expectation for ourselves of having control over something we don't have control over, then we get ourselves more tangled up in knots. And that's what you're describing. Okay? So very, very important. This is why the one thing I try very hard to be very precise with my use of language, and there's a reason for it. So relax your grip. And sometimes in a given situation, one time, relax the grip. That's all you need. Sometimes you gotta do it again and again and again and again. Okay? So that's one thing. And that's a big thing. Big thing. Another thing, very important teaching. This is actually years ago, a student of mine, actually this was my student Richard, my former student Richard, who comes often to the, I think the Tuesday night Zooms, and he was talking about dealing with craziness in his family,
Right.
like all of us. And I said, Richard, you know that sign that you see in the zoo over the cages? Don't annoy the animals. Okay. Okay. If you prod the monkey or the elephant or whatever, it's going to be a problem. And you can't expect the monkey to not act like a monkey. Okay? And that's another thing that is 100% out of our control. Okay? So, and that means navigate. It's so interesting what you're describing, and, we all have to deal with versions of this, literally navigating our way through people who are, some of them are being careful and a lot of them are being careless. That's what we do all our lives. There's always been a lot of stupid, careless people and some, intelligent, smart, caring people. And we navigate our way through it as best we can, try not to bump into things and into people. Sometimes we fail. Hopefully we mostly, succeed. And it's very interesting that now that thing that I've been using that as a metaphor for years, now it's become literal.
Mhm.
And that's also a teaching. Oh, and as for dealing with the cops, my father, my father was a lawyer. My father he was a musician. He was an oboe player, and in midlife, in his 40s, he jumped ship from being an oboe player and became a lawyer. And he had one piece of advice for his clients. He said, "Don't talk back to the cops. They have guns."
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, And the other thing is that when we talk about relaxing our grip on what's going on, that certainly applies to the outer, the what's coming from the outside, from the behavior of other people. But it also applies to the feelings that have arisen and our own behavior that's arisen. Okay? This is what is often referred to as forgiveness. Okay? Sometimes when we use a word like forgiveness, because it's used so much, we tend to think of it as in these kind of unexamined cliche ways, like of a certain feeling. And it's really a much more fundamental kind of a fundamental dynamic, an energetic fundamental, which really is, again, it's a relaxing of the grip. Like, oh, I'm such an idiot. How did I do that? And especially for those of us who've been doing our yoga, doing our meditation for years, and we go, oh man, all these years of practice, and I'm still losing it. I'm still, I mean, my main source of wheels is I ride a Vespa. I very rarely drive a car anymore, and I love riding my Vespa. But it's interesting being in traffic where you're vulnerable to the least common denominator. Do you remember when you got your driver's license? You remember them administering an IQ test? No, neither do I. Right? So, so on the Vespa, you are at the mercy of the dumbest person on the road, and you have a lot of opportunities to get yourself bent out of shape and to watch. I mean, I keep saying you. This is me. I get a lot of opportunities to see myself getting, what did I do? And then, okay, I'm doing that. Relax my grip on it. And sometimes I think of that pretty quickly and relax my grip on it. And sometimes I can get caught up in it for a while. And, oh yeah. And we just keep doing it. We just keep doing it. You know? And we do it for as long as we need to do it. In any given situation and in this long-term thing. And the other thing is, and this I think will talk to some people maybe not as much. Often it's useful to have some, as part of your practice, some way of praying for others, or of having the intention of, of may all these beings be happy. First of all, just recognizing they're all just sentient beings like us. They're all poor schlemiels like us, just trying to navigate through life and be happy and not suffer. I mean, it's really, really important to see that and keep coming back to seeing that. Not for them. Doesn't do anything for them that you understand that, but for yourself. They're just more idiots like me who are just bumping into stuff. They're just trying to be happy, and sometimes they're a little bit unskillful. Sometimes they're extremely unskillful. So that's one thing. And to, there's a Nelson Mandela, in all the years that he was imprisoned on Robben Island, and under horrible if you ever notice that Nelson Mandela, his eyes always looked squinty, and there was a reason for that. And his years on Robben Island, they would make him go out there working in the sands or the salt, whatever it was the hot sun reflecting down on all that white stuff, and they refused to let him have sunglasses because they knew it would permanently damage his eyes. That kind of cruelty, that kind of deliberate cruelty. And he writes about that in his autobiography. And what he says is, so I reached the point where I realized I had two choices. One choice was to go insane. The other choice was to learn to love my captors. Okay? Ready for that one? And it kind of comes down to that, ultimately. And to love them doesn't mean I'm going to suppress all my emotions and suppress my anger and not see the foolish behavior that I see. That's a very superficial understanding of what love is. Love means starting with that recognition that they're just, schlemiels like me trying to get through the day. And then even deeper than that, when we settle into meditation and the sense of individual boundaries melts away, there's just this beingness, this oceanic beingness, the wave of being Dean, or the wave of being Yehudit, or the wave of being whoever you are, just kind of settles down. And, settling down is spreading out. As the wave settles down, it spreads out. And it becomes clearer and clearer over time that what we are is this ocean, which just arises and expresses as this wave. And then it starts to get clearer and clearer that all those other apparent waves of all those other people are the same ocean which I am. So there's just one of us here, arising over here in the form of what we call, for lack of a better word, me. and then that same beingness arising over here in what we call, for lack of a better word, you. And then they interact, they bump into each other. Get out of my, right? And all that. And sometimes they kiss and make up. All the whole puppet show of life. 7 billion of us puppets here. But it's all just the one puppeteer, as it were. The one ocean, the one God, the one beingness, whatever, the Tao, the Brahman, whatever word works for you. All these inadequate words. And the words are inadequate when they're just words, but the more we practice, the more we experience, we have the living experience of it. And we start to see, oh, Everyone else and everything else is all that. It says in the Upanishads, I am that. That's that with a capital T. I am that. You are that. Right? If we say I am that and we stop, then we're insane and they lock us up, and they should. Because then you're dangerous. If you just think I'm the infinite, I'm God, period, rather than comma, then that's, and that happens, by the way, to some people. That's how a lot of cults start, you know. When a cult succeeds, they call it a religion, by the way, long term. Someone who experiences, oh, I'm that, whew, I and the Father are one, or whatever words, you know, they describe it as, you know, the Buddha's words. How wonderful, how wonderful. All things are enlightened just as they are. Well, again, these words are inadequate, and they're passed down, probably distorted anyway. But someone has that experience. Now, if they just experience I am it, and they don't go any further, that's dangerous.
Right.
Right. But then we start to see, oh, I am that, comma, you are that, comma, all this. What is all this? Fill in the blank, whatever you got. All these books, all these shelves, these glasses, microphones, you know, wristwatch. All this is nothing but that. It has to be. It has to be. There's only one infinite. There ain't room for two. All the finite has to be just the expressions of the infinite, just the infinite, you know, entertaining itself, arising as all the different puppets and interacting, and ultimately in all the mathematically possible ways. That's called the universe, the history of the universe. Sooner or later, everything's got to happen. And, you know, through this incredible blessing, at a couple of points along the way in that whole show, a couple of the little puppets in the show gain enough reflectiveness to be able to look around and see the picture, see the big picture, and melt out of the role. You know, as far as I can tell, rocks can't do this. Trees can't do this. Right? Avocados can't do this. Cows and monkeys, as far as I can tell, can't do this. Maybe dolphins. But we can do this. We're barely conscious enough to do this. You know, our nervous systems seem to be just developed enough to be on the edge of it, that if we do some practice, like maybe if our nervous systems were a little more developed, we would just be born enlightened. We wouldn't have to practice at all. See, but we're just right on the edge of it. So it takes a little practice, takes a little bit of sit, you hit a bell, you tune into the Zoom meeting, something, and oh, right, yeah, oh yeah, here it is. And then more and more you become aware of that. So you realize I am that, and then you start to recognize you are that. Oh, wow, look, all this is nothing but that. And then there's one more clause to it, and that alone is. And that alone is. I am that, you are that, all this is nothing but that, and that alone is. So we don't have to worry about, oh yeah, okay, so everything we've seen so far is nothing but God, nothing but the infinite, but we haven't seen everything yet. Some new thing that comes around the corner tomorrow might be an exception. No, we've precognized that not only all these structures we've seen, but all possible structures are nothing but the structureless. And then we win. Then we're home free. We're home free, right? We've been playing hide and seek, hiding from ourselves, hiding from our true identity, and then we seek it, and then we get, right, home free. Because when you fully realize that, then nothing can, what can harm? If you're a wave, you can be, you're subject to harm by the other waves. If you're the ocean, how can an ocean be harmed by a wave? It can't. It can't.
Swim under the wave.
Say it again.
Swim under the wave. It's swim under the wave. It's always peaceful there.
Yes.
So I will not go there again. I will find different ways.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We put ourselves sometimes in situations, I know, and
Yeah.
I could not loosen the grip. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Relax the grip. Relax
Yeah.
the grip. Right. Yeah. Yeah. But right. Yeah. So yes, go under the waves and then more, yeah, and into the silent ocean. We don't have to silence the waves. We don't have to flatten out the waves. Just go down into the water that's always safe and silent and expansive underneath. And more we realize that that is what we are. Okay, we got some more people with their hands up. Yes, Cynthia?
Sleep well tonight. Thank you. Much
Good,
better.
good. It's good to see your smile again.
Thank you. I was very stressed.
Yeah, Cynthia?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that. And Dean, thank you for addressing it, because I just completely calmed down. And I think that having this Sangha is so vital. So thank you for being our teacher and doing this twice a week, because it's so helpful. And it's also beautiful because there's so many things to be learned. And but I have to say, we're really witnessing something that's unthinkable for most people to imagine. A medical emergency such as this would be handled so poorly for so long. And I think we're not used to we're not used to being so stupid, I guess, about science and medicine. And some of the smartest things I've seen on Facebook was a nurse who said, flattening the curve doesn't mean the virus is going away. It means there's a bed for you in ICU. So when we continue to see the, sort of the carelessness and the numbers rising, like Arizona, it's overwhelming. But I also, and I think that younger people, I feel for them, because I feel that I got to experience freedom in life that they will never know. And they're probably in for lots more of this. So that's how I try to handle my anger when I see them without masks and try. And also I'm in a very different situation, because you're making me miss Santa Monica and Venice and Los Angeles. I'm in Durham, North Carolina, and we're very sequestered. I'm working at home. It's about 90 degrees, so I don't really want to go outside except in the morning. So it's really different, and I'm realizing how challenging it must be to be in a city, to be in Los Angeles, where everybody wants to be outside, and to navigate it. And I think it's just important to be easier on ourselves, because this is such new territory, and we're really being asked to sort of witness the unimaginable, the unthinkable, that this would have happened. And so I think that that these meetings they're so helpful to me, and they're making all of the difference. And I'm able to sort of carry them through the week, because I'm not interrupted by anyone. And I feel lucky for that. It's probably a good time to be an introvert. It's working out okay, know. As much as I miss socializing, it's like, we'll sit back and wait till this is over. But I just wanted to thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah. And I always feel so grateful to y'all, because, this is what I love doing. This is what makes me feel most alive. And most, okay, I got all the pistons working here. So thank you. And, Sangha works for me too. But yeah, I have a sister who's living in Texas right now. And, in Texas, they went full blown, open everything up. And I think, Cynthia, in a sense, part of what you're saying here is we're kind of discovering we're like having to learn this lesson on the group on the national level that wishful thinking doesn't work. You know, that our thoughts, here's the thing we say all the time in meditation, your thoughts are just thoughts. Your thoughts are not reality. They're just thoughts.
Right. And hope is not a plan. And
Yeah.
there's been a lot of that. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. My sister is a dance teacher and choreographer, and she had been working at this ballet studio, and you know, everything got locked down, and then at some point a month or two ago, the owner of the studio was saying, "Okay, everything, we're going to open up again. We're everyone we don't want people wearing masks because we're doing ballet, and masks and ballet don't mix." And my sister wound up quitting. And she just actually sent me a thing this morning. The summer camp where that owner of that studio sent her kids has now had these huge outbreaks of the virus. So, but you know, it all comes back to what can we actually do? What can we do for the situation, which has to start with ourselves? Like, you know, they always tell you in the safety spiel when you sit down on the plane, you know, secure your own mask before helping others. Right? You have to do that. If you're this idea that, oh, I'm you know, I'm going crazy, and I'm going to be, and I know everyone's going crazy, everyone's suffering, and I'm going to be a martyr and help other people while I'm drowning in my own suffering. That doesn't work. You know, when you're drowning in your own suffering, you're not thinking clearly, you're not seeing clearly. And you can share on an outer level, you can do things for people, and of course that's important, but if it's not coming from the place of rootedness in that place of silence, in that place of peace, in that Garden of Eden, if it's not coming from there, it's not going to carry that quality. And you know, I know that some of you've had the opportunity to be around people who are really just living from that, just breathing every breath from that. And then whatever they do carries that quality. There's a story in the Hasidic tradition about the guy who travels some great distance to see this grand rabbi who's supposed to be a great, you know, mystic, and he comes back and the people ask him, well, what did he teach you? What was the secret meditation technique? Which prayers out of the holy scriptures did he teach you? What's the secret inner meaning? And he said, oh, I didn't travel all that way to hear the rabbi teach. I went to watch him tie his shoes. You know? And a person who's really living from that, and you know, I've been so lucky to be around some people who are like that. And you just, oh, there it is. There's the teaching. One time I was at the Dalai Lama, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, came to New Jersey, and he gave a big talk at Rutgers University in the football stadium. I went to this talk. I can't remember a single thing he talked about. But what I can remember, I remember two things. At one point, they gave him an honorary degree, and they put the hat, the mortarboard on him. And he laughed and he said, "This is the way to get a college degree without having to do all the work." But the other thing I remember was at one point, he'd been talking for a while, and so he had a water bottle, and he picked up his water bottle and went to screw the cap off of it, and he couldn't get the cap unscrewed. And he started laughing. And eventually, I guess either he got it off or someone else helped him or something. But watching him struggling with the cap on the water bottle and laughing at the situation, I went, aha, right, there it is. This is like, watching the rabbi tie his shoes. It just was the most perfect, beautiful, complete, full, absolutely ordinary act just saturated full of beingness. And that's what happens to your life. You know. Good. I think we got more people with their hands up. Adam or Francisca. Hi. So your hand is up. You want to say something?
Now we're unmuted.
Now we're unmuted. Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right. Really nice session today. We just wanted to chime in because, as you know, we're traveling in Australia, and give like the perspective of, I'm an American, Francie is Swiss, and it's been really hard for me being in Australia, watching what's going on in America, because from our perspective, it looks, and from, you know, the Australian news, etc., it looks like just the worst place in the world right now to be. It's tough, and obviously I have friends and family, and so I talk to people, but it's been amazing here just to give you guys another perspective how well it's been handled. And the conservatives are in control here, but the whole thing, there's been no show. It's been clear, calm, competent, the whole thing. And we're traveling now, but it's because Corona is basically out of the country. There are a few spots but it's amazing how seriously this country took it, and how much everyone worked together, how much solidarity there was. It's amazing. And, you know, I always like to, when we're traveling, I like to look at how the governments work. The way it works here is that, you know, the people elect the party, and then the party chooses its leader. And if the leader's not doing a good job, the party removes that leader.
Right.
And they're just, it's hard. It's sort of hard to imagine for us what's going on, because it's been so much different. And Francie, I don't know.
But what Yehudit, it was just, her story was really heartbreaking to me. You know what happened to her yesterday. That's why I said, this is crazy. I can't believe it, you know. But I think that's what's going on there all the time, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. To see what's going on.
And, you know, it's but
you know,
also let me just say, it's not everywhere all the time. And this is again one of the teachings that I think is very, very important to keep in mind, that, you know, like often someone will say, oh man, I've had a stomach ache all day. And then if you cross-examine them, you gently start to ask, you find out, well, really, was it every single moment you had a stomach ache? And they go, well, let me see. You know, do you have one right now? Well, not right now. And you find out, oh, it was intermittent. You find out, well, there are actually some bunch of spaces when they didn't have a stomach ache, you know. Or they say, oh, I've been just in mourning for this person or this situation for just solid 5 months, 5 years, whatever it is. Really? There's no spaces in that? What about when you're parallel parking in a tight space? Where's your mourning then? Or where's your oppression by living in a stupid cowboy society then? It's not there. It's not there, because you don't have, it's only there for us when we're focused on it, when we're thinking about it. When you're parallel parking in a tight space, you don't have the bandwidth to deal with both. So you have to drop all the bullshit, all the stuff, everything that's been going on. You have to drop it. And not just, you know, that, but all kinds of things. When you're doing the crossword puzzle, when you take the first lick of the ice cream cone, when when you're intent in a conversation with someone about something other than this, it goes away. You drop it, and this is coming back to Yehudit's thing about relaxing the grip. We actually relax the grip. We actually let it totally go, as a matter of fact, hundreds of times a day, whatever it is, but usually unconsciously. We drop it 1,000 times, but we pick it up 1,001 times. So then, oh, here it is. I've been carrying this thing around all day. Actually, no. And then, by the way, 6, 7, 8 hours a night, you drop it when you fall asleep. But then we're unconscious. What meditation is actually, the wakeful hypometabolic state, is essentially neurologically kind of like being asleep, but awake within that quietness, awake within that letting go-ness, that relaxing the gripness. And then more and more we get to be functioning from that place. So,
but Dean,
yes,
Dean, I think it's what I feel, and maybe other people feel like that is in the total society. Usually you feel, even, I don't know how to phrase it, that if the people in charge of you, meaning, I don't know, maybe the government or the people in charge, whatever, state or total federal, as in the United States, would go is what is right to do, to go, especially now that we're seeing comparing it to the rest of the world, or the Western world, or the development world, then we feel okay as an individuals. But what I felt yesterday is loneliness, like lost. Nobody's going to protect me. And I cannot even protect myself, because people so not caring about me. They don't know me, I don't know them, and I just have to hide. And I think that's what got to me, that we are more lost in this United States of.
It's.
I appreciate Adam and Francesca. Francis.
Yeah.
That you are sort of understand me. Thank you. That's all that I want to say.
No, absolutely. It's tragic. It's tragic, and it was so unnecessary. I mean, unless, I don't know about these things, unless on some level it since it happened, it must have been karmically necessary. Whatever was the thing in the soul of this country that made it choose the particular leaders that we chose, that we had to, there was maybe something collectively we had to learn about, where do we go with that? What does that lead to? I don't know. But, it's interesting you're talking about being in Australia. My sister in Texas that I was talking about just sent me a link this morning to a short, I think 4-minute video from the World Health Organization, all about how this was handled in New Zealand. And in a way, it was heartbreaking to watch, because what they did in New Zealand was so, what should have been so obvious everywhere, that you do this, you communicate clearly, you get everyone on board, and then you're done. And there was this wonderful moment. There was a clip of when what's the name of the wonderful prime minister they have there?
Jacinda Ardern or something like
that. Yes. And they show her at the one news conference, and where the reporter is asking her, what did you do when you got the news that we had no new cases, or we had no cases at all in New Zealand? And she smiled. She said, well, I did a little dance, and and it's heartbreaking that we're going through this year, and literally thousands of people have gotten horribly sick and have died that didn't have to. And that there's going to, all this stuff for, I got grandkids who are supposed to be going back to school in the fall. What happens with them? And, and multiply this by everyone else. So you know, I'm not, I don't know anything about public health so listen to the experts on that. I've got a little bit of expertise about handling our own consciousness. And, that I can tell you, looks like this is going to continue to be a big challenge. But it's always some challenge. This is a big challenge for a lot of people. And I would say that this is a time to double down on your own practice. To, sit up and meditate every day. But then also, as you're going out in the world, as you're taking your hike, or you're doing your grocery shopping, or you're working at home doing whatever you're doing, several times a day, do the in some form. Do the relaxing out, relaxing your grip, dropping your thoughts, recognizing, just closing your eyes for a moment, or not even closing your eyes. Oh, where's that beingness? Where's that Garden of Eden place? Where's that stupid, simple beingness that underlies whatever's going on? Oh yeah, it's right here. Oh, you're right here. I am that. And then, if you happen to have someone else sharing the space with you, oh yeah, you are that. Can you feel that? Can you somehow settle? Everyone here, we're all experts at settling down within ourselves. Can you intuitively get a sense of how I would, look at you, Cynthia, look at you, Yehudit, whoever, look at you, Billy, and settle down into the beingness that is you as well as me? I am that, you are that. And all the objects in the room, the couch, the plants, the whatever, or if you're outside, the trees, the sky, all this is nothing but that. That alone is. To be just that, to have that awareness of that awareness of that fundamental beingness so enlivened in yourself, that then whatever you do more and more, when you go outside, when you deal with whatever, that you're going to be the rabbi tying his shoelaces for other people. That's in Buddhist teaching. That's what's called the Bodhisattva. There's a Buddha, which means a person that's become awake to what they are, awake to their oceanic nature. And then there's a Bodhisattva, which is someone who's, because in the traditional, the old style, the old school teaching, once you're a Buddha, you're done. What needed to be done was done. You've completed the spiritual journey. If you think of this in terms of rebirths, you don't have to bother to be reborn anymore. But then in the Mahayana Buddhism is the concept of, beyond the Buddha is the Bodhisattva, who's the person who's in a way, the enlightenment is the beginning of the path, because then you've got the task of helping to lead all beings out of suffering into awakening, into happiness. And if you think in terms of rebirths, however many rebirths it takes. When I was formally, officially a Buddhist, I used to take the Bodhisattva vow every morning. Vowing that I'm going to stick around as long as it takes to lead all these sentient beings to enlightenment. And I remember I used to go to, this was in New Jersey, and down on Route 22 there was a food market. I think it was an Asian food market I used to go to, and there was a place with the bins where you'd put the scoop in and take out all these dried, these tiny shrimp. What do they call them? Brine shrimp or something? These tiny dried shrimp, and in one scoopful, there would be thousands of these tiny shrimps, and I used to think, wow, I'm really vowing to stick around as long as it takes to lead all these shrimps to enlightenment. That's a serious vow. So I don't do that anymore. Just for me, that kind of, that made sense to do for a while. But the spirit of that, the sense of that, to me makes perfect sense. Okay. Anybody? Barbara, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hi.
So much has been said, and you know, to speak of the trouble with going out and walking with your mask and other people don't wear it. I've experienced that too, and the way I've gotten around it is I just go find another trail. I try to find a place that's not as crowded. I'm in North Jersey, so it's not like it's uncrowded. But you know, I try to find new places, and I also try to do the right thing anyway, because you'll never get people on board if you're just willing to, you know, join them.
Right.
But I think a lot of the reason that people don't do it is because there's been so much misinformation that they just kind of throw their hands up and say, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to live my life and the hell with it, you know? That's certainly not good news for us, especially older people. But I try to, you know, keep my distance and not push the issue. But the other thing that's gotten me through this time period, these 4 months, is gratitude. Instead, I'm focusing on gratitude for all the small things that I have. All, you know, like I've got a roof over my head. I've got my bills paid. I am very fortunate. My son was living with me for 3 months. I never expected to have him living with me again. Now he's moved out, got his own place, and I'm on my own again. And at first I was sad, but I had gratitude for all the time I had with him and his fiance. And, you know, and the fact that they moved 30 minutes from me. They used to be in San Francisco. So I just keep trying to focus on everything that's good, because there is enough good around if you look. Look at the flowers, look at the plants, you know. It's, you know, and I try not to think too much about the future because I have no idea what it's going to hold.
Right. Yes, we don't know what it's going to hold. We do know that everything changes. You know, when someone a little while ago, I think maybe it was Cynthia, said, you know, the young people, they'll never get to experience that. I meant to mention that. We don't know that that's never going to happen. I don't think that's true, that it's never going to be. Things are going to, you know, constant change is here to stay, as the saying goes. We don't know the future. I think it's a very good point, Barbara, about gratitude. As we were saying a little while ago about forgiveness, it's easy to think about gratitude in this kind of superficial, cliched way where it's just a feeling. And that's great, even just as a feeling, you know, versus a bunch of other feelings we can have. Forgiveness, gratitude, they're great feelings. But as meditators, we are familiar with the deeper level of what that is. And as I was saying about the other thing, that deeper than just a feeling, there's these kind of fundamental dynamics, the energetics going on. In the case of gratitude, it's really the opposite of obsessing about whatever negative thing grabs our attention. And I think it's useful to recognize the mechanics of it there, which is presumably because, you know, there's this survival skill. As we're coming up, we evolve, we're mammals, we were whatever we were, marmots and monkeys, and, you know, and then we get to be humans. But the basic survival skill is we need to when there's a problem, we need to focus on it and fix it. Okay? That makes perfect sense. If you're some kind of a marsupial or something in a tree. I don't even know what a marsupial is, but some kind of mammal, something in a tree, and you go, oh, you start eating the fruit, that's an unripe fruit, that's a problem, I need to focus on it. Spit that out. Fine. Remember that the green ones are no good. Go for the red ones. Okay? Good. But now that we evolved to humans and we have this capacity to think abstract thoughts, we tend to take those same mechanics of, okay, focus on the problem, but now we're applying it to the stuff that's just running around in our heads, that is not actually physically present, not there in a way that we need to address or even can address in any practical way. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just kind of piecing this through right now for myself. So we're like taking this animal survival skill of focus on the problem. If you're an animal, all you can focus on is the piece of fruit in front of you. Once that's gone, it's gone. You're done focusing on it. But with this abstract stuff that stays with us, and oh, he said this and she said that, and what if this, what if that? There's no end to it. Mm-hmm. So it behooves us. It's like the part of the operator's manual here, but that maybe we skipped that chapter when we read the operator's manual. Okay, when you start, it doesn't work. It's not skillful to be obsessing about this stuff that you can't do anything about. And so relax your grip on that. Okay. Well, I think it's getting to be dinner time here. So, may all beings swiftly realize how to be skillful, how to relax their grip, how to relax back into that with a capital T, and recognize it in all their brother and sister beings. Find that natural forgiveness, that natural gratitude. And thus may all conflict, all disharmony, all suffering spontaneously evaporate. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I find myself not wanting to hang up. I'm just enjoying seeing all these beautiful faces, these beautiful hearts so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Phil.
See you Sunday.
Yeah. Right. Hopkins on Sunday. Gerard Manley Hopkins. Good stuff. See you then.